Hi, I'm Ted Pattison. Welcome to the Office Developer Screencast virtual tour. In this video tutorial, we're going to talk about creating and using content types in Windows SharePoint Services 3.0. Back in the last version of SharePoint, you could associate metadata with a document as well as behavior through event handlers. But you couldn't really do it at the document level. You really had to do it at the document library. This made it hard to deal with heterogeneous types of documents inside the same document library, as every document in a document library would have to have the same metadata and the same behavior. Content types introduced in this new version of SharePoint give you more flexibility. You can create different content types for different types of documents and really dial in the metadata and the behaviors you want each document to have. Then you can configure a document library to support multiple content types, thus giving us much more flexibility for having heterogeneous types of documents side by side in, say, in the same document library. Now, when you think about content types, let's start by talking a little bit about what went on in Windows SharePoint Services v2. Let's create a new document library. Just like I could in v2, I create a document library. What I'd like to do with this document library is to store different documents from different client engagements, presentations, proposals, various reports. When I create the document library, I'll just leave the document template as Microsoft Office Word document. We'll choose Create. Now, just like back in v2, I can go to the settings for a particular document library, and I can start adding columns. The problem that I have here is I have different types of documents that I want to put in this one document library. And if I add a custom column, it's going to apply to every type of document that I want to put inside there. So one of the things I'm really trying to bring out in this tutorial is how moving from v2 to v3, content types allow us to now store heterogeneous types of information inside of a document library. And every type of document that I want to store inside can have its own custom metadata. So I really can't add the metadata at the document library level. So that's going to give me a motivation for creating a content type. Now, before I create the content type, I'm going to create a couple different site columns. Let's go to Site Settings, and let's go to Site Columns. Because when I create a content type, I can add metadata columns to it, but only from site columns that I've already created. So let's go ahead and create 3 custom site columns for this demo. I'm going to go back to Site Columns, and I'm going to choose Create. So a site column is a standalone definition for a column that might say that it's a choice column. It might be a number column with formatting and validation built in. The first one we want to make is a lookup column. Now, I have a custom list with clients. And what I want to do is I want to do a lookup. So I'm going to have a content type or a site column based on a lookup that goes to the client's list and basically looks up the client column. The other thing is when I create one of these new site columns, just for good housekeeping, I should go ahead and create a new group to put it inside. Okay, so there's my first site column that I just created. If I scroll down to the bottom here, there's the Litware client site column. Now let's create 2 other site columns. I'm going to make these fairly straight ahead. This one will be a legal review. So some of the documents that we're going to create, but not all of them, we want someone from our legal team to review the document. So I'm going to say that's going to be based on a yes/no field. We're going to go ahead and create that in the Litware group. And the default value on that will be no. So someone will have to proactively assign a value of yes when the legal review has been performed. We'll go ahead and choose OK. And then we'll create one more. And so some types of documents, in particular those that have colors and fonts and graphics, need to have the review done by the art department. So we're going to go ahead and make this a yes/no field. Once again, I'll go ahead and put that in the Litware group and have the default value be no. Okay, so now I've created a couple site columns that I can use as I create the content types. Now to create content types, I'm going to go to the Galleries under the Site Content Types link. So here are the different content types that come out of the box with Windows SharePoint Services 3.0, and also the page that I use to create my own content types. Now content types support inheritance. And what that allows you to do is when you have 3 or 4 different types of documents, but they all have the same common properties, we can define a single base content type like I'm going to do here. So we're going to go ahead and create a content type called litware document. When we create content types, also note that you don't create content types from scratch. You create content types by inheriting from one of the ones that's built into Windows SharePoint services. So my custom base content type, litware document, will inherit from the standard document content type. And also look down, there's not an existing group for litware yet, so we'll go ahead and we'll add that inside. Okay, now that I have this base content type called litware document, what I want to do is I want to add a column there. Now note, unlike lists and fields, you can't just add custom columns. You always have to add from existing site columns. So I'm going to choose add from existing site column, and I'm going to go down to the litware group, and there is the client lookup field. And so for every document that I put inside this document library, it's always going to have this client field inside here. I'll go ahead and choose OK. Now that I've created the base content type, let's go ahead and create 2 derived content types. So the first one that I'm going to create is litware, and let's have that be the litware presentation. And in the litware presentation, I'm going to go ahead and inherit from the litware document base type I just created, and I'll put this in the litware group. Go ahead and choose OK. And now what I want to do is I want to make this content type special for a very certain type of document, presentations. And so the first thing that I'll do is I'll go down to, say, add from existing site columns, and I'm going to go find the litware site columns that I created and find art review and go ahead and choose add. So now you can see down here that the columns, well, there's the name that's inherited from the base document type. There's client that's inherited from my base type, litware document, and then art review, which is specific to this content type. One more thing I'd like to do with this content type is to upload a new document template. So I'll go to Browse, and I'll go back and I'll find where I have my document templates, and I'll upload the one for the litware presentation. And we'll go ahead and upload this. And at this point, we've created now the litware presentation content type. Let me create one other content type to make the demo a little bit more exciting. So this time we'll create a content type for a Word document that's going to be a proposal. And just like the presentation, I'm going to have this one inherit from litware document, so they both pick up the same common fields I've defined inside of our base content type. And I'll define it inside the litware group. But now I want to make the proposal content type different from the presentation content type. So when I say add from existing site columns, we really don't need an art review for this one. What we really want is a legal review. So we'll go ahead and add the legal review field into the proposal content type. We'll go ahead and choose OK. And then just like the presentation content type, I want a document template. So I click on, once again, Advanced Settings. And then I pick the option for Upload a New Document Template. And there's my litware proposal document template. And we'll go ahead and choose OK. So now we've created 2 different content types that we want to use inside of a document library. So let's return to the document library and see how we configure the document library to use these content types. Note that before I go through and do this work, if I drop down the new option, there's no document templates supported there, just the ability to create a new folder. So under my document library, I go to Settings, Document Library Settings, and at first, notice that there's sections for general, for columns. You don't see a content type section. So the first thing I need to do is go to Advanced Settings. Under Advanced Settings, there's an option for Allow Management of Content Types. The default is No. I switch this to Yes and click OK. And then down here, you see a new section shows up that wasn't there before, the Content Types section. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say add from existing site content types. And what I should be able to do is go and locate my content types inside there. So there is the presentation. There is the proposal. In some scenarios, I might want to add in the generic litware document. In this case, I don't. I want users to take a stand on whether anything they upload is a presentation or a proposal. We go ahead and choose OK. And also note that there's a little residue left behind. The standard document content type supplied by Windows SharePoint Services is still there. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. So we only support our two content types. So by clicking on the document content type, you get to a page that has a link, delete this content type. Now we can see that for our document library, the only two content types that are supported are the two custom ones we just built. So now we're all done, and we can go back to the document library and see things from the user's perspective. So note, if we drop down the New button, well, there are the two different document templates, one for each content type. So content types give you the ability to supply to your users as many document templates as you want in a particular document library. Let's also go ahead and upload a document. So I clicked on Upload. Let's go ahead and find a document. So I'll go back to Litware Documents, and let's say we want to upload the wingtip sales presentation. We'll go ahead and upload that particular document. Once we do that, notice that we have the name, which all documents have. We also have client, and so client, notice it was in our base content type, and art review was in our proposal content type. Notice that if I go back here and I switch content type from presentation to proposal, all of a sudden the metadata fields change. It used to say art review, now it says legal review. And if I switch back to presentation, art review, one more time, let's switch back to proposal, and you can see that it's a very easy way to have different types of documents, yet to have each document be based on a different content type with its own set of metadata. And now we'll go ahead and upload this. And now you can see that we'd be able to take, and let's go ahead and upload one more document. So this time I'll go ahead and upload the Contoso sales presentation. And that's a presentation that is based on Contoso. We haven't done the art review yet. But now you can see that you can have two different documents side by side, each based on a different content type. Each of these documents can have different metadata as defined by its underlying content type, as well as different behaviors by any workflows or event handlers that you'd want to associate with the content type as opposed to the document library as a whole. The last thing I want to do inside this demonstration is let's go ahead and open this Word document using the Office Desktop Word Client application. Once I open this document right here, I open this up and I'm going to go to the View menu. In the View menu, there is a way to choose properties. And when I choose properties, notice that something called the Document Information panel comes up. And you can see that when your document is based on a content type, that the metadata in the content type shows through and shows up in the Word application and makes that something to edit. You can even go one step further and take this information panel and use InfoPath to customize the user's view of that.